Can we do this without saying the word genre? It's not my favorite term. Pottery customer to be. Been eating some crackers or Cheetos?
Cheetos.
Clay around here is in pockets rather than beds or veins. It's out there, it's everywhere. It's just, it's hard to find it. Hopefully, you know, someday I'll find my own clay pit, and that's kind of the way I look at things. You know, if I'm patient, you know, things usually tend to happen sooner or later. But what I do with the clay mixer, the Maytag 1953 Maytag that I salvaged from the dump, is we put the clay in on top of the water, allow it to slake, which is a fancy word for dissolve, and I usually turn it on and let it run for about an hour or two, and then I'll take it out and put it into a tray, a cloth lined tray, to let it firm up, which, depending on the humidity, can take anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks. I use the clay just like it comes out of the ground, little to no additions. The clay has everything it needs. I don't really need to add anything to get the effect that I'm after, which is the traditional wood-fired look. I'm not a Catawba Valley potter. I'm not bound by those rules. I guess I am based on that, but I'm not bound by it. This is where I grew up. This is I've lived here all my life except for about 10 years. My parents built a new home. I bought the home place here and converted this tool room / smokehouse, smoke room into my potter's shop. This is the clay after it's been processed. It's been run through a pug mill, which is just it's a clay version of a sausage grinder. What it does is it cuts it and recuts it over and over, and it homogenizes, and it just mixes it, and then it extrudes it into this 5-inch log. There are commercially available pug mills. I chose to build my own. I'm a welder by trade. I teach welding, so I built one here at a friend's welding shop using some salvage material that we come up with, and instead of spending close to $5,000 for a pug mill this size, I've probably built mine for less than 1/10 of that. I guess what hooked me on the wood-fired pots was a book by Dr. Terry Zugg called Turners and Burners. And as far as wood-fired pots in this area, that's the Bible for potters. I've learned a lot from that book. It's very candid interviews with Berlin Craig. Nice pictures. I befriended local potters, Kim Ellington, Charles Lisk, Matt Jones, Mark Hewitt, and they all fire with wood, but they all make different pots, and they all go about it a slightly different way. I learned as much from watching and listening as I did from asking questions. A lot of times, if you ask a question, you can ask the same question twice and get 3 different answers. The whole thing is, it's about a 3-month cycle from digging the clay to making the pots, cutting the wood, glazing the pots, and then firing and selling the pots. It takes about 3 months. We load on Friday nights, and then after we get everything loaded, we start a little preheat fire just to dry the kiln out. You know, it's built into the ground, so it's a little damp, and let it burn overnight real slow to dry the kiln out. Then I start in earnest about 5:30, 6 o'clock on Saturday morning. And it takes about anywhere 15 to 16 hours, depending on the weather, depending on the wind, the humidity, how many pots are in the kiln, the size, and the way they're stacked. And every firing is different. There's nothing, you know, we can't just can't duplicate the firing or the results every time. It's just everything. It's an individual effort each time. That's an old Electrolux vacuum cleaner. It blows air in the bottom just to keep those coals burning up. It doesn't make the kiln burn hotter. It just burns so the coals don't build up and clog it up. Yeah. Well, I'm checking the cones now. The cone 12 is down, and down means it's pointing horizontal at 3 o'clock, and we may go a little farther. We may just get it almost flat, which is a little over 2,400 degrees, I think, and we're just about through. They're looking pretty slick. Most of them are. Well, this is what we've been looking for, finishing up.
2,369 degrees. Hit it. Let's go.
Wow. That's intense. That's hotter than 2 squirrels fighting in a wool sock, isn't it? It's 10 o'clock. I know you're anxious to get started because it's quite brisk out here. I want to thank you all for coming. And we got plenty of pots. I think there's at least one for everybody. So for those of you that haven't been before, the way we do this to avoid confusion and hurt feelings, we draw numbers. And whoever gets the lowest number gets to pick their pot first. And we'll go through the numbers, and then after everybody finds a pot of their choice, then we'll have an open sale. And if there's anything left that you want, you're welcome to it. And thanks a lot for coming. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer the questions. Okay, anybody have number 1? Some people want to judge whether I'm a successful potter or not by
Number 3.
how much money. Did you make any money? Did you make any money? Do you make any money? That's not, to me, that's not how I judge whether I'm a success or a failure. I'm having a good time, staying out of trouble, producing something that people like, that people want, that people will use. And that gives me a certain amount of satisfaction seeing the look on somebody's face when they pick it up, and they know what they want to do with it before they ever leave with it. I don't want to do it for a living. I've got a good job. I can support my family, and raising my 7-year-old is that's priority 1. That's not a hobby. That's a full-time job. Being here for her and trying to be a good example and providing for her that's the main focus of all this. Well, a friend of mine printed up some business cards as a joke, and it says Tom Whitaker, potter at large, and he was poking fun at my stature. But it says producer of traditional wood-fired stoneware, builder of groundhog kilns, part-time pyromaniac, master welder, expert beer grower, super dad and husband, professional brick scavenger, accomplished speed reader, Carhartt fashion model, stunt driver, and connoisseur of fine regional cuisine. To me, it's all about the process as much as the finished product. Sure, I enjoy looking at those shiny pots sitting out in the grass after the firing, but I also enjoy digging the clay up and hammering the dust and sawing the slabs, and the camaraderie at the kiln firing with me and my family and my buddies, and you know, and then seeing the people at the sale and watching the pots leave. I don't feel a sense of loss or a longing after my pots when they're gone. It's all about digging more clay and making more pots. I do it because it's fun. That's why I do it. And I guess when it ceases to be fun, that's when I cease to be a potter.